50-50.
Fourth down, the final play, unless they can stick it in the end zone. Dorsey under pressure, throws it, incomplete. The Buckeyes win. Ezekiel Elliott, and he's got an opening. Elliott off to the races. Can they catch him?
Feature the two backs as receivers, and now a downfield shot on first down for the end zone. Touchdown, Ohio State strikes first. Making the Judkins again, and there is Smith running free, breaks a tackle. Ohio State strikes quickly from 45 yards. Pressure comes. Sword, knock it out, and picks it up. Jack Sword, coming down the sidelines. Ohio State scoop and score, and dagger from 82 yards. Here they come. Heavy pressure. Howard delivers downfield, and Smith, he's got it. Jeremiah Smith, 2025 college football national champion, Coach Ryan Day, and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Welcome in, Buckeye backers. We are bringing it to you live from Seattle, Washington, to the cornfields of Enid, Ohio. We are the pulse of Buckeye fans across the nation, with Seattle Matt and Buckeye Steve. Welcome in, Buckeye backers. Just another beat down for the Buckeyes. I know there was that garbage time touchdown, but we're here at Ohio State is 9-0, baby. Just another win. Ross-Ade Stadium sometimes provided those moments where Ohio State struggled. You know, you go back to Rondell Moore, you know, lighten it up. You go back to 2018 when they lost and Ryan Day was the coordinator. He was prepared for this. He knew that this could possibly happen. So look where we're at now, baby. All right. They knew what they were going against and they showed out. Like this team is the same every week, really, playing with their food a little bit before they decide to eat it. And that's kind of what I got about this game. I think they know they're so good that they just don't have to dominate. They don't have to be electric. They can save guys for later. What are your impressions of that?
I think Purdue is a scrappy team. If you really look at what they've done this year, yeah, I understand they're 2-8, but they really haven't been blown out by anybody this year, having played USC, Notre Dame, Michigan, Illinois. Mm-hmm. No extreme blowouts, anything really beyond 26 points that the Notre Dame lost. So it was a team that has that mindset shift. They don't have that talent yet, but it looks like they're putting the things in place to at least start to build a program and culture. So the fact that you were really up 31 going into the home stretch against kind of a scrappy team on the road, I think is pretty impressive overall.
Yeah, I mean, everything really, to me, looked good. I mean, Jeremiah Smith had to, take it on his back just because Carnell Tate being out. And it sounded like they were just saving him, right? Like, he could have gone if he needed to, but he had some tightness, is what we were told, and then just didn't play the whole game. Sat there ready to roll. If he needed to be, he would be called upon, but they didn't need him. There was no reason for it. And what was nice about it was seeing Bryson Rogers get a couple a nice setup throws to him and just next up mentality. Because if you go back and look at what Ohio State's wide receivers have done in the past, wow. They showed a graphic during the game through 8 games. Back in 2022, you had Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Ibuka being the top 2 guys. 1,571 yards and 18 total touchdowns through the pair. Then 2020, you go back, you have Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson, 1,452 yards and 13 touchdowns. And then this year, you have Carnell Tate and JJ, man, 1,436 yards and 17 touchdowns. If that's not wide receiver I don't know what is, man. This is a culture, and Ryan Day's built a culture on top of that. It was like Hartline kind of established a culture in the wide receiver room, and now that they had a taste of excellence across the board, winning a national title, that culture has expanded to the whole team, right? And you kind of see that with Bo Jackson running it all the way down the field, or Isaiah West running it all the way down the field. And then all of a sudden, CJ Donaldson comes in short yardage and no one's complaining. Like, if you're a back running it all the way down the field or setting up all those touchdowns and you don't get the chance to score, that's deflating, man. You have to be a total team player not to be pissed off about that.
I think you said it right. It's a culture thing. And that's the beauty of winning a national championship, is it helps solidify that everything you're doing is right. And that's what's permeating through that locker room, is listen to the message, do what we're telling you to, because the end result can be a national title. We proved that last year.
Yeah. That house goal for Bo Jackson to open up the game, it started off slow, right? So we stopped them. Brown got his first down on a scramble. We stopped them, and then we get the ball, and all of a sudden Bo Jackson, first play, takes it to the house. And I don't know about you, but I thought that was a total flop by the guy. He just stopped, and then Jeremiah Smith kind of ran into him just enough to touch him with his hands, barely, and the dude falls on the ground. To me, it was a flop, and they called it. And I don't blame them for calling that. It looked like a block in the back, and I guess it technically was a block in the back. It was just weak.
It was, and in real time, you're picking up on those tendencies. You see it. So I have no problem with that call, unfortunately. And it's frustrating, and I don't want to jump the gun on you, but I think they hit on it pretty early on in the broadcast about the explosive plays in the run game. And it's funny, I don't think that's clicked in our minds. We certainly haven't addressed it on this podcast, but that is really valid, that we have not seen that explosive plays yet in the running game, those 20-plus runs. And I thought that would have been a great catalyst to get that going. It was a block in the back. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Even if it's ticky-tack, there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
But I do think when we're starting now getting into mid-November, looking at areas of improvement, I would certainly say explosion in the run game is one of them.
Oh, yeah. Ryan Day's talked about it. They've talked about it in the press conference, and we've talked about it on our Wednesday shows after that. Obviously, you're not listening enough. Just kidding. I know you listen. Yeah, you do. On your ride, you talk to me about it every Tuesday, every Wednesday, and every Thursday about. But anyway, in the locker room, real quick, Temple Brutus, what's up? Mika, how are we doing? Mika, go check out the Buckeye ladies every Thursday night, 8 p.m. on the Ohio podcast. See it on there all the time. Go check it out. They're great. It's good work. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're setting it in, huh? Locking it in. That would be 5 p.m. your time.
That's fine. I've been waiting for the show. I got to check it out. I'm going to type it in right now, as should everybody else listening to this.
But anyway, hey, if they take that all the way down, though, and there isn't the block in the back call, this game gets out of hand real quick, I think, right?
I don't think this game was ever really in question. I understand it was 3-0, but I mean, you call it playing with your food. I call it just kind of feeling out the game. I don't think they're sitting around saying we want to try this unique concept or anything along these lines. I think it's a combination of they're not getting a lot of explosion out of the run game. In fact, I felt like the running backs had to earn every yard in that game. It felt like they were getting contact almost right away. And all the running backs, by and large, even Peoples, I know the knock on him has been one hit down. I thought he fought when he had to fight for his few carries, and the same with any other running back. I felt like they had to earn that. I don't know if that's an offensive line issue. I know we'll break down some stats a little bit later. I think this is just a scrappy team that they played against. And we saw that throughout the Big Ten yesterday with what Wisconsin did and others. It doesn't mean you have a lot of talent, but I think you're starting to see these teams say, hey, we're not going to give up 40, 50 points a game to our opponents. We're going to stay close. We're going to stay tight, even if the talent's not aligned. And that's what you saw out of Purdue yesterday. And, yeah, they can throw at will, but also making sure that you're executing down in the red zone, too, is critical.
I'm gonna come back on you, and I'm gonna call bullshit. I don't think they're feeling out the team. They're feeling out the game. They're trying to install the run game because the run game is poor. The blocking in the run game is poor. They are trying to force it down their throat against teams that they know they can beat whenever they need to. If they want to just dial up pass after pass after pass, they can beat all these teams, and they know they can. And, if you have the best defense in the world ever, you have something to rely on, right? You can just go back and rely on this defense. So if they just wanted to massacre these teams and feel it out, all they would do is throw. They would just throw, and set up the run after the throw. They want to instill their running game, and they want to create a running game that they're going to need down the stretch. Eventually, they're going to need the running game. That's one of the reasons why I like that Lincoln Kienholz run. Like, put him in short yardage, and they're probably going to do that more. It works. All right, you have that extra hat that they have to get after. And did you see that? C.J. Donaldson led block for him.
Yeah.
And the quarterback took it. And Lincoln Kienholz deserves it too, being an Iron Buckeye. Absolutely deserves it. I think that they're working on the run game because they know they have it in the pass game. And that's their one weakness on this team. One weakness.
I would agree.
Which reminds me of something else. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. The weakness on this defense is a quarterback that can get the ball out quickly. And you kind of saw that on the first drive from Brown when they got the field goal to go up 3-0. Pass after pass after pass after pass. And it was quick passes. And, oh, man, come on. Well, our new iteration, we have Brian Buckeye Stats coming on. Welcome to the morning after show. We got a statistical challenge. What do you got for us, man?
Yes. You were just talking about the run game, and I would like to throw the statistical challenge flag. So we've been talking a lot about the run game and the issues that we've been having in it. We've been talking about you have the PFF grades there for for the offensive line there.
Hey, wait a second. What'd you do to those glasses, man?
You had to bring that up, didn't you? So
I think you're missing a little earpiece over there.
I am. So a lot of you know my background is I'm a scientist by trade.
Nerd.
I'm a nerd. I eat, sleep, and dream Buckeye stats. And last night I fell asleep at 1 or 2 in the morning with my glasses on. And woke up and my glasses were broken. So yeah, I'm a big old Buckeye stat nerd.
There we go. Hey.
So on to the run game. So I was pleasantly surprised yesterday with the run game. If you look at the average, so some of the things we talk about is the pace of play. We don't have a lot of plays that we have compared to other teams. So the average rushing yards per game is not something I like to look at. I like to look at the average per attempt. And yesterday, Isaiah West had 6.7 and Bo Jackson had 5.4. I thought that was promising. And something I like exactly. And something I like to do, if you follow me on social media, and I know Seattle Matt, I just found out, is not on social media. So something I like to harp on is Alabama. Alabama, as of this morning, they just passed. What is it? Is their 9th game or their 10th game? Alabama had yesterday.
I think it was their 9th.
Alabama, this far into the season, just passed 1,000 yards as a team yesterday. Alabama is 120th in the nation now for rushing yards per attempt. Ohio State, for all its issues, is now 51st in the nation at rushing yards per attempt. The teams that are behind us, Ole Miss at 52, Oklahoma at 94, Texas at 98, and like I said, Alabama at 120, and Georgia is at 43. We're not doing too bad, guys, and we're doing all right. And some of the issues like we talked about at the offensive line, if you button up that right side, we faced 4 defenses in the top 25 in rushing defense. I think from a stat side, we're going to be okay.
So what you're saying is we're doing just fine.
I think so.
Doing just fine in the running game. We'll see. You will see when we face, the best of the best. When we get to the Big Ten championship game. When we get down the road a little ways. When we play that team up north on Jeremiah Smith's 20th birthday, November 29th. But before we get to all of that, I think we need a couple more round of applause. You look at these grades. Look at Ian Moore getting in. Ethan Oniamwa. Wow. Hey, it's time for him to shine. We need him to pick it up. It's that time of season where everyone needs to be playing their best ball. And right now, it looks like some of these backups, every time they get their chance, they're shining, especially on the offensive line. And I don't know what that says about some of the starters, but it does say at least the backup boys are bringing it when they get in.
Yeah, 100%. And I know there's been a lot of talk about Ortegra. I know we talked about it before, with Ross-Ade and his mental health talk and how he cares about the players. This is nothing negative about Tegra as a person, but we saw him completely whiff on that one swing pass out there that probably should have been a touchdown. There's a picture out there on a run play where he's out there all by himself, standing alone and with the scrum. Hate to say it, love you, Tegra, as a person, but man, it just seems like that right guard position is a liability right now. You see Ethan scoring really high. That's one of the highest scores that we've seen on that guard position. And with Padilla being out this week,
we need him.
That's a solid score. And with Ian Moore, with the issues we've had and where we are with the rushing attempts per game, it seems like we could be doing even better. So that's a bright spot. If we button up that right side even more, we could be doing even better. So to me, these are all positives.
Yeah, give them their flowers. They deserved it. We're going to bring you back if you can find another challenge for us. So he's
absolutely.
He's our, what do you say, Mike Farica kind of guy. He's going to come in when we get something wrong. He's going to come in and give us that video review.
I'll be lurking.
All right, man, that's awesome. Love it. And Mika over here saying, "Hey, she's a nerd too. Give me that nerd pride." Isaiah West. Let's talk about Isaiah West. He was getting running back 2 reps, right? That's what we were talking about before. That's what we wanted to see. He earned those running back 2 reps. What I thought was they put him in the wrong spot. On a 3rd and long to do pass pro is not where I wanted to see him. But on the flip side of this, I'm seeing Ross-Ade's mentality, and I'm like, maybe he's wanting players and position groups to be in situations that end up being teaching moments, whether they do good or whether they do bad. Because Isaiah West, what we've seen about him is how he can run, how he can hit the hole, how he can do the running back things. But what we haven't seen is, where's his pass pro at? This is where I'd like to see C.J. Donaldson in on a 3rd and 9, picking up the blitzing linebacker, right? Because he's experienced. And if he needs to, he's been a wide receiver. He can get out and catch the ball and run. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Are we trying to set up situations where guys have teaching moments in live action?
Possibly, which is good. I mean, you can't mimic game speed in practice, no matter how much you want to try. So you can't mimic that game. So you want to see the growth and maturation of people maybe playing in a different down, different distance, different situation. You also have to go back to, and you talked about this quite a bit in the Illinois game, substitution, where substitution is not always an option for you. And if you want to substitute, let's say it's 2nd down and 8 and you pick up 1 yard and now it's 3rd and 7, you don't always have that luxury of substituting, because what you've allowed is that defense to now substitute. So now they can manipulate and control the clock. So there are times you may want to keep personnel and packages on the field simply to put the defense at a disadvantage. So sometimes you are going to need players that maybe aren't your typical 3rd down back or aren't your typical slot type guy to play in those positions, simply because you don't want to substitute out of that package.
Ooh, yeah. Seattle, I think this is for you. I think Mika wants you on Wednesday or Tuesday, maybe, on my Illuminati podcast. Illuminati. Oh, wow. I like that. I like that. That's a good name.
I've been searching for it.
I haven't seen the Illuminati. I'm gonna have to watch that one. I watch your Thursday show all the time. I'll get in on the comments this Thursday.
Yeah, we got to get in on that. And as somebody who loves a good conspiracy theory, you're hitting both buckets right there with that. So,
but hey, Seattle, that's exactly why I love you. You fought back to the timing of it, and actually, you kind of made me sound good, but it was your thought. Back to the timing of it, you can't take people out because of the substitution problems that you could have with the defense getting in. Excellent point, man. I didn't even think about that. And going into the end zone, trying to score right there, you're probably want a good timing route or a timing pass. So you want to set up the defense for failure by calling it quickly. That's probably why they didn't sub them. Excellent point, man. Excellent point.
That's why you wake me up at 6:30 in the morning.
Exactly. Oh, speaking of waking up, Downs was about to put the lights out on people. Did you see some of the hits he made? Damn. It was like, that's why it was Downs to business on the field, man. He was lighting people up, and then that tipped pass. Jermaine Mathews was like, yeah, if it weren't for number 2, that's how I got it. Just absolutely being Downs to business on the field. Those hits were amazing. He was making them feel it. Coming back from that safety, he was bringing the wood, dude. Bringing the wood.
Yeah, he's a top 10 NFL draft pick as a safety. I mean, there's no greater compliment than a statement like that, just because you don't see safeties going in the top 10.
There's a little bit of chatter, and Brian knows about it, that he possibly could come back after this year along with Matt Patricia.
Why? Why would you?
Money, culture, podcast.
I mean, I've always thought you play at that level to go to the NFL, and calling a safety a top 10 pick is not an insult. Safety's a luxury item, especially for teams picking in the top 10 who probably have about 7 needs on the football field. And so to see a top 10 team in the NFL draft take a safety is a true testament to the talent there. And maybe the money equates, maybe the talent equates, but to me, one bad injury and you went from being a top 10 pick to going in the second round, perhaps. So I would be absolutely shocked.
Touche. And Brian's not just that stats guy. He is a social media connoisseur, if you will. So we have to bring him on here for the Downs to business. Downs possibly coming back. What do you think, man?
Yeah, and playful rumor. So on the Downs to Business podcast, they had Coach Patricia on there this past week. And there was just a small little snippet that kind of got a little blown out of proportion for a small moment. But Josh Downs asked a question asked Coach P, hey, what is an NFL organization getting if they draft Caleb Downs? And it was kind of asked if he were to come out, if. And Coach Patricia kind of playfully said, hey, don't get me excited about him coming back with us next year. So there was a lot to digest in that with kind of Josh playfully saying or ingesting that there's a possibility that Caleb could come back, and with Coach P kind of insinuating that he was coming back. So there was just a lot to kind of insinuate and to run with in social media world. And so a lot of us were kind of saying, well, could possibly Caleb come back, with the podcast and with NIL and all that stuff. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Would it be crazy, like you said, Matt, for top 10, maybe even top 5 pick to say, nah, I'm good, I'm going to stay. Yeah, that'd be crazy. But in today's world, I mean, it's not far-fetched, man. It's not far-fetched. But yeah, it still would be crazy. But it's fun. It's fun to talk about, though.
You are killing me with the crooked glasses. I'm loving it. I love every minute of it. This is awesome.
This is your Buckeye stats guy right here. I'm all in, man. I am all in.
That's for real. All right. Hey, Seattle, any thoughts on that? We'll get you back in here, Brian.
I think the point of playing at Ohio State, and we've continued to talk about this, is to get yourself NFL ready, and to look at everything and say this is a legitimate top 10 pick because of talent, right? That it's unheard of that a safety going in the top 10, but he is so talented that he's a top 10 pick. I understand you could look at even that contract that first year, let's say you're the 8th overall pick versus what he could be receiving at Ohio State. And then maybe it's comparable. I'm not sure. It's beyond the money. It's why you come to Ohio State to play. Is the ultimate goal is to be a professional in the NFL. That's the culture that we're building at Ohio State. It's not about getting a bunch of money up front like Texas Tech and other places we've talked about. So
go ahead.
Yeah, please. No.
I'm really good at interrupting.
I don't mind that.
There is one item I'd like to address, or one particular circumstance I'd like to address, I guess would be the best word. If you go back to back and you have a chance at a three-peat, does that change your mentality at that point? If you can define history, if you can define good, if you can define dynasty in all of college football ever, does that change how you feel? Like if you love where you're at, if you're having the time of your life, if you love your coaches, if your brother's in the NFL saying, dude, maybe this isn't the best thing in the world, does that change your opinion?
Depends on your mentality. And it depends on what your ultimate goals are. If it was in me in my position and I felt like I had that talent to play at the NFL level, the ultimate goal for me was to play in the NFL. And the fact that all reports are saying by and large you are going to be a top 10 pick. And again, the only wavering on where Caleb Downs get drafted is, again, when you're looking at the top 10, even the top 15 picks in the NFL draft, those are teams that are struggling for one reason or another. And typically, by and large, that safety piece is a luxury item in the NFL. It's certainly something you want, but you typically have a lot of other holes if you're picking in the top 10, top 15 that are more important to address. So any slide by Caleb Downs outside the top 5 is not a talent argument. It's just simply what NFL teams need in that position. So if his goal is to play in the NFL, he's set up everything to do that. If he's saying to himself, yes, I love the culture, I love what's happening here, a three-peat hasn't happened, I think we'd have to go back and find it. I think I looked, it happened in the 50s with Minnesota or something off the top of my head. I'm sure I can get a stat guy to correct me there. I can't remember the last time a three-peat actually did occur, but it is incredibly rare in college football.
If it was Minnesota in the 50s, actually.
Pardon?
I think you're absolutely right. I think it was Minnesota in the 50s, like 53, 54, 55.
Something like that. And I do agree with Natty Time 517. You got to win the second one first before you start talking about any dynasty. And we are a long ways away from January 19th. 34 to 36. Okay, I was about 20 years off.
Not even close.
I love it.
But still, was it Minnesota?
Minnesota. I think it was. Again, I like having stats in here. Yep. See?
Minnesota.
I got one of two right.
Good call.
You know, again, I think Natty Time, I actually appreciate you bringing it back to the present here. I think talking about Caleb Downs and whether he stays or goes is the least of our concerns at the moment, simply because we're still in the thick of the season. And that's a February.
I am not pumping the brakes.
That's a February conversation. It's not a November conversation.
No, we're starting it now. We're starting.
No, I meant the Caleb Downs stare go.
Okay, yeah. I agree. I agree with you there. But pump the brakes. We have to get our second. Yes, if we get our second, then we could start talking. But hey, I'm not on the team right now. I'm talking about it now because I'm excited. This team has everything in place to do it. They have the culture to do it. They have the team to do it because defense wins championships, right? And we've seen that across the board. It's not what your offense does, but we have the offense too to match it, which is insane. Absolutely insane.
Well, we've been talking for a few weeks. You've been a lot more bullish on Indiana.
We got another statistical challenge. Statistical challenge.
Oh, what's the challenge?
That it's the wrong date. It's not February.
Oh, yeah. The deadline to declare for the draft is January 15th.
Yeah.
Hey, just
that's
lock
surprising given the national championship game's January 19th.
Right? That's nuts.
Huh.
Well, and that's the whole debate too.
That's also the transfer portal.
Yeah, you have the transfer portal issue, and then even Urban Meyer was on.
Mika gets a hat. Mika, you get a hat. Send me an address. You've been on here enough. You get one. Boom. Ask
Meyer,
you shall receive.
Urban Meyer was doing interviews this weekend talking about the Heisman, saying that it should be pushed back. Because I think.
It should.
When do voters? When is the deadline?
I know it's after the championship game weekend. I think it's immediately after that.
No. The deadline for Heisman voting is December 8th, and then when is the Big Ten?
December 6th.
Yeah,
December
it's after championship game.
Yeah. So, the big games are going to be during the playoff, right? That's when you have your Heisman.
Your defining moments. I agree. Like originally this was in place and it's archaic. It's historic. It was in place just simply for the regular season. You didn't want to just give it to the national championship winner, or you didn't want to give it to the Rose Bowl winner, or whatever it was back then. But now with the playoffs, you have 12 teams to choose from for the Heisman. So it's something that you need to just go ahead and do. All right. Go ahead and send it out there. Move it back. Things have changed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably going to be a discussion that they have. Probably.
Yeah, but I'll say in all professional sports, when you're talking MVP voting, they vote before the playoffs begin.
And
I
don't like that.
Then Travis Hunter has no shot to win the Heisman because he didn't play in the playoffs last year.
True, and he deserved it. Yeah.
And he absolutely deserved it. He was the best player in college football last year. But all professional sports vote on their MVPs and stuff before playoffs because playoffs are a different thing entirely. Yeah. So I actually don't have an issue with that.
Well, I mean, that's a fair argument too. But also I've seen people say that the Heisman is a regular season.
Yeah, I agree.
Just like you said. However, if you look in the Heisman bylaws, which I've read all the bylaws. I have read all the bylaws. The nerd. I also have a law degree, so you can bet that I have read all the bylaws. There is nothing in there that prohibits it from being strictly a regular season award. So there's that.
Damn
it. So. It is changing with the times, and again, even Urban Meyer, one of the most beloved coaches, and quarterback whisperers of our time, agrees that it should be changed. So I'm in his camp. Let's change it.
I'm gonna debate on this a little while. I'm gonna sleep on that one. I do agree. Like that would be a farce not to have. Maybe there needs to be a new award.
A new one.
Like a playoff Heisman.
Nah.
I mean, they get their MVP for each game, but
postseason. Well, think about it. The Heisman is supposed to be for the best player, right? The best player is supposedly getting your team to the heights of the sport.
Hey, but it's the best player, not the best team. That's the issue. if you change it to the playoffs, I agree. It's out of sight, out of mind. Whoever did the best in the playoffs is going to win the Heisman, which is maybe good, maybe bad, because you're right. Travis Hunter had no shot at it after you get through the playoff. It's just not happening. And I also do agree that it's probably not going to happen that often, because maybe Davey O'Brien Award. Okay. When is that voted on? That's a good point. Maybe the Davey O'Brien's later. But with all being said, this is what we got to talk about. And this is what's meaningful to the Buckeyes. What this is setting up for, with Indiana being able to come back, with them having their Heisman moment against a team that hasn't won a Big Ten game in Penn State, it's setting up for Big Ten championship game is going to mean an awful lot. Number one, it's going to be the Big Ten champion. Number two, you're playing for Heisman, right? And number three, you're playing for first place in the college football playoffs if everything keeps going the way it's going. This is round. A huge game.
Yeah, first round.
It's going to be the biggest show in Big Ten championship history. And it's going to be in Indianapolis, right down the street from both the Hoosiers and the Buckeyes. It's a 2.5-hour drive, maybe 3-hour drive from Columbus, probably a little bit more. And it's about an hour drive from Bloomington. This is going to be a packed house, and it's historical for the Hoosiers. This is going to be an awesome game, and it's going to be electric, and it's going to be a ticket that's really hard to get. So if you're a Buckeye fan and you want to go, you better get that ticket right now.
Yeah, talk about the ticket allocation for that one, huh?
It's going to be ridiculous. Absolutely packed house.
Got to get there first.
Yeah.
Got to get there first.
Quit
Jeez,
no.
What a Debbie Downer. Jeez.
No. If Ryan Day was on this show, you think he'd be supporting your conversation right now?
No, not at all.
No, and as he should. Yeah,
he almost walked off the Pat McAfee show because they were talking about how good he was.
I know, exactly. you got to get there first. And guess what? That game on November 29th, you have to win.
It matters. It's a play-in game for the Big Ten championship, too.
It absolutely is.
Setting up for it.
Well, that's his job. Our job is to be excited about our team.
No. This show, we get real on this show. There's no fluff on this show. You got to win it. And I appreciate the commentary, too, about pumping the brakes. Again, I think now we're in that little bit of a lull right now where we saw it on the schedule all wrong with Purdue, UCLA, and Rutgers. UCLA's come back down to earth quite a bit. Rutgers is not a strong football team by and large. So I think these next 2 weeks really about keeping that mental focus in play. And again, I really am curious to see how Coach Day goes into that Michigan game.
This is a good
change that mentality.
From the locker room, Natty Times. So OSU should tank the first quarter so Sang can have a huge comeback Heisman moment. Exactly.
Love it.
Exactly. Because why was Indiana behind?
Well, no, Indiana was up 20-7, and then they were up 20-17, and Mendoza threw a terrible interception.
Yep.
And then Penn State went down and scored and made it 24-20.
Yes.
So there really wasn't a lot of tanking. Indiana led the majority of that game until it was a bad interception. And I know Brian's going to help me with the stats along that. It was, he just didn't see the safety. I don't know if it was arm strength or not, but he didn't see the safety. Safety made a great play. And again, we talked about it last week. Penn State has a lot of talent. And when you were watching that fourth quarter of that game, you were seeing that talent on display. They finally felt like they were the team that we expected to see all along. They just didn't finish, and Mendoza had a hell of a drive.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, let's compare, and we're going to have to leave Brian on here because he's going to help us compare these stats, right? Let's talk about Mendoza versus Sang at the moment right now. Seattle, you talked to me about it a little bit. It was a NFL type comeback victory for Mendoza. And the eye test, he passed it. Everyone was all over Twitter saying, all right, he had his Heisman moment. And at one point, very soon after the game, he was the odds winner or odds leader for the Heisman.
Watching that drive, it felt like watching Mahomes or Allen or Lamar Jackson. That's what that looked like. And again, I know Brian and I debated quite a bit about arm strength and whatnot. I mean, that to me was 11 plays, 80 yards, putting the ball where it needed to be. I mean, that catch in the end zone was unreal. I watched it real times and no way in hell was that a catch. The guy, that was an NFL catch.
Absolutely.
He had 2 feet down. I mean, it was unbelievable playing, and you're not playing with your number one wide receiver either. So what they were able to do on that drive, where all the momentum, that Penn State crowd was finally the Penn State crowd that we remember in the past, the talent they still have at Penn State. I mean, that wasn't Purdue. That wasn't Michigan State. That was Penn State still, regardless of record, driving down the field, making the throws he needed to make. I said after that game, I thought that solidified him as the number one pick in the draft.
Maybe. But sometimes that number one pick in the draft isn't the best player in college football. And we've seen it before last year, this year. Jeremiah Smith is the best player in college football. He's not draft eligible. He's not going to go number one. Saying maybe he's the number one player. I'm debating.
I mean, that's where I would love if saying we're draft eligible, it would be a fun debate, because that's what I'm always going to parlay this into is how are you viewed at that NFL level from that scout perspective, where your draft ranking is going to be. Not to say that it's the be all end all statistic, but that is really what you're looking at is with this quarterback class are who's going to step up and step out, because it was supposed to be this phenomenal QB class. And by and large, a lot of it fell by the wayside with Klubnik and Nussmeier and Sellers not really stepping up to what teams thought they would preseason wise. But that's what you want from your NFL quarterback. You get the ball, you're down by 4, you drive your team down and score in the final 2 minutes. I mean, that's what you're looking for. And that's what Mendoza did. And just because Saying doesn't have that type of drive, he doesn't have that type of drive because you have the best defense in the country and you're not put in that position.
And we got a challenge. Wait, before we get to that stats challenge, let me go with this. Saying also doesn't have that moment because of the way he moves in the pocket, how fast he gets the ball out, how his wide receivers run routes and get open. He doesn't need those moments because they're too damn good.
That's what I'm saying. They're not put in that position.
Eventually, they're going to have those moments, but
maybe
not yet. And
maybe,
maybe they won't. And I mean, Brian's glasses are getting more crooked as we speak. He's getting so frustrated. He's got to talk.
Man,
Spit it out, buddy. Spit it out.
Seattle Matt. Oh boy. Just listening to you talk. I mean, everything you said about Mendoza, you are right. You know, I give him a hard time. But you're right. That was a masterful drive. He's going to be a great NFL quarterback. It was great to see him come back and bring his team back. That drive, that throw. I mean, he had 2 Penn State defenders in his face. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps. I mean, I'm not an Indiana fan. I love Cignetti. I give him a hard time, but Mendoza, that was a beautiful throw, beautiful catch. If you love college football, how can you not love that drive, that pass, that catch? That's what college football is all about. It was magical. And I can understand why the money was flowing into Vegas and saying, this is it. This is a Heisman moment. It was magical. It was hard not to get wrapped up into it. Yeah. But come on. Let's come back to earth, buddy. Come back
Pump
to earth.
The brakes.
Pump the brakes. Let's look. I've got it pulled up right here. Let's look at the stats. All right.
Hold on just a second. I'm going to get this up here for you.
Well, I'm looking at the one side by side of Penn State, Julian Sayin and Fernando Mendoza, Penn State stats.
Bring it.
So there's a reason here. Julian Sayin, okay, and just to preface this, Penn State has had a rough year, but their passing defense, when Julian faced them, was number 5 in the country. They're not a pushover. Even right now, they're ranked number, I think, 12 or 14th in the country after Indiana faced them. So Penn State has a really good passing defense for all their issues. So Julian Sayin was 20 of 23, 316 yards, had a 13.7 average, 4 touchdowns, and 0 INTs. Okay. If Mendoza had a Heisman moment and everyone's saying he was a maestro against Penn State, I mean, then you go ahead and just hand Julian Sayin 2 Heismans now for what he did against Penn State. I mean, that's just, it's not even the same. Mendoza was 19 of 30, 218 yards, 7.3, almost half the average, 1 TD to Sayin's 4 TDs, and threw a pick. I mean, it's not even the same. Yes, he brought his team back on that beautiful drive. I mean, I'll concede that was a beautiful drive. Wonderful touchdown pass at the end with like 30 seconds left, 3rd and goal, game on the line. I mean, again, if you're a college football fan, it literally gives me goosebumps thinking about it, watching the play. It was
beautiful.
He got smacked in the mouth. I mean, the catch. I mean, that's what college football is all about. Props to that team. That was awesome. Your season on the line as far as, Big Ten championship. That was wonderful. But again, come back to reality.
Well, hey, the other thing about this is you have to give it a little bit of a pause. It wasn't the same situation. It was at Penn State. Penn State had momentum. The crowd was into it, and that is a lot different than a home game. But we got to talk about this. This is a focus. Why are we talking about it? They get to go head to head, hopefully in the Big Ten championship game, and then that moment will come. I'm telling you, that game, if everything goes as planned, is going to be for the Heisman, for the Big Ten championship, and for number 1 seed in the college football playoff. And that's all that's going to matter at the time. No one's going to care about Penn State. No one's going to care about Purdue. No one's going to care about anything else. No other Heisman moments are going to matter when that time comes. If that time does come, that's all that's going to matter. So we could talk about it all we want, and we're going to, because that's what we do. King James said, that really bothered me, ESPN saying, Julian Sayin hasn't had a Heisman moment like Mendoza when he had 200 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception against that same defense. Sayin had 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. So we talked about it. Yes, that's a great point, but it's all going to be moot. No one's going to care when there's a head-to-head determining it. Those are going to be the moments. Those are going to be the Heisman moments, and we're going to see it in Indianapolis on a speed track where Ohio State does well. Mendoza 2-minute drill was awesome. I agree. I was on the coffee table yelling, wringing my hands with the state of Indiana. Yeah.
But that's the point and I think all these points are valid, is the Indiana team didn't play to what they needed to do. They got down against Penn State and gave this highlight reel drive to Mendoza the opportunity to do that. Our knock that Sayin hasn't had a Heisman moment is the fact that he has such a complete team around him and they're dominating that they're never being put in a position to have that highlight reel drive because they don't need it, because they're winning games convincingly through everything they're doing. And you're right. I think Sayin's stats are getting lost in the fact that this is such a complete team because his stats are unreal. They're absolutely unreal. But the Heisman is a story. It's a narrative award. You can have a lot of stats. They certainly help you get into it. I think the storyline behind Mendoza is unique. This Indiana program coming out of nowhere, this kid coming out of nowhere, dominating that. I don't look at Sayin losing the Heisman as some kind of knock. I see it as a storyline more than anything. Sayin's having an unbelievable year, and that shouldn't get lost.
And King James puts up another good point. The difference is Julian Sayin's doing it at home and on the road. Yeah, and we'll see that on the road against Michigan, like you said. I think he's going to have his build up on November 29th. But the ultimate test is going to be if they face each other in the Big Ten championship game. That's just my point, and I'm sticking to it. And the voters, I don't think the voters that are going to vote on the Heisman until they see a 1 versus 2 ranked teams and 1 versus 2 Heisman candidates face off against each other. Why would you vote before that? That's just idiotic. If you do, I know we've seen some stupid stuff by the AP poll, but you don't vote for Heisman until you see that, unless you're voting for Ty Simpson, which would also be stupid.
Yeah, he's probably going to play in the championship game on Saturday afternoon.
Save it till they show their best. At least that's what I do. So the Hawkaholics, what's up, boys? Hawkaholics, they're my boys.
Yesterday.
It was a tough loss, man. And I'm sorry for the both of them because they had a good show, man. It was set up. They had a show at a tailgate it was like a philanthropy event. I can't remember what it was for, but I think it was somehow supporting the kids in the hospital. So I thought that was cool on them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, all right. We've done our Heisman talk. Let's dig more into this game. Is there anything more that you want to talk about with Purdue? We'll get you back on, Brian. Peace. We'll get you back on. I'm sure he'll find something wrong with what we're saying and give us a little challenge in here.
It's good. It's good. I think we all you and I listened back the following week and wish we corrected 50 things we said. So it's nice to have it in real time. I don't think there's a lot you can take away from this Purdue game or the UCLA game or Rutgers game. I think it's about, it's not about rolling the balls out on the field, right? It's about going out and executing and doing what you need to do. I know they want to improve the run game. Again, I think it's there. You just got to develop it a little bit more. Like Brian's points all along to the fact that you don't need to have a top 10 rushing offense to be successful. You just need to be able to get the yards and make the plays when you can. If you're getting 3-4 yards a carry, you're in a really good spot. But what's that going to look like in Ann Arbor or Indianapolis or the Rose Bowl? That's where you want to see the development of the run game get to a point where you are playing those better teams on those road or neutral site games. And are you able to run the ball in those situations? Because if you become one-dimensional, you're putting a lot of stress and pressure on Sam.
One point I failed to mention. It is time to put Jake Butts on the nationally televised games. Like the things he said, especially towards Buckeye fans, and he's a Michigan graduate. He mentions how Caden Curry is not getting enough national buzz with all the stats he's putting in. Later on X, he was defending saying when people were talking about Mendoza for Heisman, and he's like, and Ty Simpson, and they were debating those two, and he was like, you need to turn that off, man. Like if you saw and you watched all of saying, you would be talking about him for Heisman because of the things he's doing, right? Jake Butts gets it, man. I love listening to his analysis, his breakdowns on Big Ten Network. And if it's something that he wants to do, he does it well, man. Anytime he gets on there, he does it really well. And I don't know why he's not a national guy. He should be. I mean, maybe it's just he hasn't had enough time to do it, but he should be a nationally televised announcer. Like he said with Jeremiah Smith when he made that catch and he was getting interfered with, he was like, just watch and admire. There was nothing else to say. And he kind of made fun of himself. He was like, I'm supposed to say something smart here, but just watch and admire. That's all there is left. Wow. Yeah, some of these, we have the best players in college football all across the board almost.
That's what I think when you really boil down why people are questioning or debating saying for the Heisman. I think they're a victim of their own success. They're defending national champions. He's winning games dominantly. They're just crushing everybody. What he's doing is unreal. It's almost incomprehensible, or it's almost like the standard that they expect. I think with Mendoza and Indiana, obviously it's a Cinderella story out of nowhere. Everyone loves that, this Indiana team being ranked number 2. And And, I think the Alabama with Ty Simpson's a solid quarterback, really good, but it feels kind of like this redemption story, or you're forging your own era now out of Nick Saban. So you have these storylines, you have these narratives around it. Ohio State's just going out every week and handling their business. It's boring. It's vanilla. We love it, but it's not getting clicks and driving things the same way as well. And when you tend to see a lot of national media people looking for different storylines, what it tells me is they're trying to get clicks because they're bearing the ultimate lead. It's why you see the ESPN people debating why Texas A&M should be number one. Well, sitting here talking for an hour about why Ohio State's number one, that's boring. But talking about Texas A&M, the third-ranked team being number one, that gets you clicks. It drives results. Same with the Mendoza talk for Heisman. If it's just the fact that they're victims of their own success.
Actually, Doug, ESPN does employ Desmond Howard, the clown, and butt out there being professional. But I think Desmond's starting to flip a new leaf or turn over the leaf. He was saying on game day, he had that speed dial where he had to pick the best defense and compare defenses. And he was like, it's obviously Ohio State. And maybe it's just because there's no other way to say it. Like, they're just too good. You can't spin that in any other direction. You have to actually say it. Yes. That was the tweet I saw. He got schooled by Jake Butt. Yeah. Dan Orlovsky got schooled by Jake Butt. Yeah. On his quarterback take for sure. 100%.
It's a little bit different, though. The Nationals, you have to realize that these Nationals don't sit down and watch every single game. Orlovsky's on a national show. He watches NFL too. They get a lot of stuff fed to them. It's not the same with Jake Butt. He works for the Big Ten Network. He's
Correct.
From Columbus, played in Michigan. He's truly dialed into the Big Ten. So I really do trust Jake Butt and his analysis on the Big Ten because of his employer and everything. When you start getting into the Orlovskys and Stephen A. Smiths and all that stuff, listen, they probably get a show sheet 30 minutes before the show, right? They have to look at a lot of different things, not just football or college, but NFL and other sports that they talk about as well. So I think it's a little tough to start bashing national media people because there's just an entirely different agenda that they have.
Correct. Yeah. Man, why do you got to be so sensical? I hate that. I'm all pumped up over
you have
here.
to put it in perspective. And again, Desmond Howard has his role on College Game Day. That's his role. And again, Ohio State fans, take it as a compliment that you want somebody in that seat that's going to routinely bash Ohio State. It gets clicks. It gets notices. Now, obviously, he's a Michigan guy. We get it. Again,
nope, I'm taking it as he's a clown. I'd rather him be a clown. It sounds better. It feels better.
He's playing his role. He's playing his role.
The traitor went to Michigan from Ohio.
Yeah,
he's a clown, and always will be a clown. He's a Walmart Wolverine. No. I hate him. I hate everything about him. I don't hate him.
Up in that northern part of the state, it's weird, man. It's weird.
Yeah,
I don't know what y'all doing in northwestern Ohio.
With man. You have a point that I want to hit on with the national media too. They're looking at the game, waiting for it to be a possible upset. Once it gets to that point where Ohio State, they're going to take it, they flip it off to another game where the storylines and the clicks are. So they don't see all the stuff that Saying's doing over an extended period of time. It's just those first few drives, Ohio State takes over, and then you see Saying's stat line, and that's it. So you don't really know till you watch the game. That's why that Penn State game was such a big deal, because all that national media already booked their ticket there. And they went and saw it, and they were like, whoa, I saw a whole game of Saying, and holy shit, this guy's the Heisman frontrunner.
I think it's a great point you're making, the fact that you have to watch an entire game of Julian Saying to truly appreciate what he's doing. Again, you look at that 8-yard pass to a tight end, doesn't really show up in the stats anywhere. But
Correct.
What you see with that 8-yard pass to the tight end was staying in the pocket, going through his progressions, finding the open wide receiver, and making the right smart play. And you're seeing with that is every iteration, every time he drops back, you're seeing an IQ that's off the charts. You're seeing the progressions. You're seeing the manipulation of the pocket, moving up in the pocket to make these plays. And yeah, when you're going back and looking at a box score on the computer, you see Julian Sand completes Max Clare for 8 yards. That doesn't wow anybody. When you're watching that, it's impressive. And that's the disconnect that you're seeing, I think, nationally from locally. And again, Ohio State, #1, has been #1 since week 2, defending national champions, clicking on all cylinders. Those are boring storylines. Great. Let's keep that going.
Absolutely. We got to pause here for a second to get to the locker room a little bit. 'Cause I absolutely want to talk about this. Temple of Brutus, this was one of the things that I had in my mind to talk about it, and I probably would have forgot if you didn't bring this up. Fox needs to fire Portnoy. Literally everyone hates him, thinks he's not funny, mean, spouts off idiotic nonsense. Dude, ESPN won that battle with Pat McAfee because he's absolutely brilliant up there. Second to none. And this was Fox's attempt to get their Pat McAfee, and that was an epic fail. An absolute epic fail. Yeah, you probably have the Michigan faithful enjoying him coming out there in his Michigan shirt and everything and spouting off of the mouth and sounding. It's just not a good take for TV. In fact, I don't even watch Big Noon, their pregame show anymore. It's just not even worth it. Even though Urban Meyer's on there, it's just like, man, they just got way too cheesy with that. You got to get someone who's actually quality, that has a value that they bring. Yeah, his Barstool stuff, great. Leave that on Twitter. It's not for national TV for a pregame show. It just looks elementary.
You're trying to get clicks. You're trying to compete. They're ESPN,
and they're not. They're losing clicks.
Pat McAfee is elite in what he does.
Correct.
I don't know how he does, but he's elite. That was an amazing hire by ESPN.
You want something on there? Get Josh Pate on there. That would be a little bit better. I mean, I know he's not quite.
Yeah, Fox has always tried to look for that cheesy, funny angle. Just watch NFL pregame. They do some pretty weird stuff, even at the NFL level. That's Fox's style, and it's fine.
Yeah, hire Mika.
There we
go. Up there.
I'll take her.
But yeah,
I don't know.
Big news to hire Jake Butt. Yeah, sometimes you don't always compete with your competitors the same way that they do. You go Jake Butt style and get someone who's like, man, I want to watch this analysis because this dude's dialed in. He obviously prepares very well. Bring on Jake Butt, man. I would, if you take Dave Portnoy, throw him aside and get in Jake Butt, I'm watching every single time. Every single time I will click, I will share anything that he does on Fox Noon, Big Noon Kickoff, because he's excellent at what he does and he prepares well. And that is a guy that should be on there.
There's a major problem with what you're saying. Jake Butt is intelligent. He knows what he's talking about. He's analytical. He can dissect the Big Ten extremely well, probably all football if he took any time, but he focuses on the Big Ten naturally. That's not what Fox is trying to do. I can tell you right now, at 6 a.m., my wife is putting on College Game Day every Saturday morning. You know why? Because she loves Pat McAfee. And Pat McAfee is an amazing showman. He does a phenomenal job on that show, but he's bringing in that fringe audience, that outside audience. Mm-hmm. You and I and Brian and people listening to the show, we want that in-depth analysis. That's where Jake Butt is going to get our attention because he's really, really good at what he does. When you're looking at a show like that, you're trying to bring in the fringe audience. And that's what Fox tried to do with Portnoy.
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that. Again, getting sensical and stealing my thunder, but get rid of him. Hire Jake Butt. I want it.
It's business. It's not personal. Again, every bash, every knock against Ohio State, I smile and take it as a compliment. Because guess what? It means you're being talked about. Again, as a Cleveland Browns fan, you know what they never talk about on national media for the NFL? Cleveland Browns, because they're irrelevant. So take it as a compliment anytime the national media wants to take a shot at Ohio State. It's because we're the best right now.
And McAfee is respectful. Billy Tuesday getting in here. Nice to have you back, Billy.
He's a professional. He's a true professional in every sense of the word. But I think to kind of bring this again full circle, I think this is the kind of show, by and large, that we're probably going to have to do the next few weeks, where there's just not a ton of statistical breakdown you can have.
Well,
I look at it by and large the next 2 weeks of it's going to be a lot of the eyeball test, right? We're going to beat UCLA. You're going to beat Rutgers. You're going to have to handle your business. It may not always be pretty at times, Ohio State fans, because, again, I'm sure Ryan Day is looking to work on concepts and establishing certain things that we're not really going to see until the game progresses out. Can any point in time, can Sane get the ball to Smith and get 15 yards? Yeah, we know that. So they're going to be looking to develop other aspects of this game. And really, it's about how is this team preparing to make its run starting November 29th?
Yeah. Well, hey, you said stats, and immediately the stats nerd appeared. We got Brian's stats on here. Back for more. What do you want to talk about? This is your tweet you just sent out. Let's talk about some of these. Getting historic with the Buckeyes with this defense. We all knew it. Just speak to me on it.
Yeah, there you go. So I've been doing this actually since last year, and just kind of updating the kind of historical context of our defense. And so this is the update for this week after the stats updated this morning, and you can kind of see there, it's kind of just mind blowing.
I see a lot of ones on that list and some twos.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. Like, you look at the scoring defense. Right now, we're the only scoring defense in the single digits. The next one
7.2. For those of you listening, we're gonna have to read this because some people aren't digesting this via video platforms. They're just listening to the show in their car ride. So number one scoring defense, 7.2 points per game is what we're giving up. Number one total defense, 211.6. And Brian's putting this all together. So go follow him on X. And he's starting to build a little Facebook too. So he needs to get this out there on Facebook as well. Number one yards per play, 3.79. Number one in passing defense allowed, 4. Number one in passing yards per attempt, 5.0. Number one in opponent's red zone scoring percentage. Number one in pass plays over 10 yards. Number one in plays over 30 yards allowed. Number two in plays over 10 yards allowed. Number two in passing defense, 128.7 yards per game. Number 4 in tackles for a loss, 3.11 per game. Number 4 in third down conversion, 26.6%. And number 5 in rushing defense, an 82.9 yards per game. Wow. Did I read all that right?
Yeah, pretty phenomenal. And you start talking about, like, Indiana, and hopefully, not to get too presumptive, Seattle, Matt. I know we want to temper expectations in one game at a time.
No, we don't. No, we don't. We are not doing one game at a time. We're looking forward to Michigan right now.
But if you do look forward to the Big Ten championship, Indiana is number 2 in scoring defense, and a lot of people who aren't keeping track of stats and stuff, Indiana, it has a formidable defense, and that's one of the things that makes them a great all-around team. I said we're the only team right now in single digits, but at number 2, Indiana is 12.1 in scoring defense. And something else that I think I put in the studio chat, looking forward to Michigan. I think a lot of us looked into this season and kind of downplayed Michigan and thought that maybe they wouldn't have a good season, and good for them. And I think it's good for their rivalry, that they've only had 2 losses, and looking towards November 29th and the 2 games that they have left and how the rest of the top 25 is looking. Mm-hmm. It's not inconceivable. We walk into November 29th and Michigan is either on the fringe of a top 10 or maybe even looking inside of a top 10 team. That could be a top 10 I mean, how you talk about Heisman moments. I mean, inside, Ann Arbor.
Top 10 against your rival at their house for all the marbles to go to the Big Ten championship game, to win the Heisman, to be the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. You're absolutely right. That sets up for a beautiful historical moment in Ann Arbor for Julian Sayin and the Ohio State Buckeyes.
With David Portnoy there with his T-shirt saying that Ohio State hasn't beaten Michigan in 2,100 and whatever days.
Take your shirt off, Dave.
Right.
There, he can act like McAfee. Take that damn
go.
shirt off and stand up to the crowd when they lose. That would actually be miraculous. That would be awesome. That would be made for TV.
I agree.
Oh, what's your X, Brian? Shout it out.
Get your handle out there.
Just put it in the chat.
Yep.
I can.
Yeah, you can throw it up there. It's Brian Buckeyes Stats.
It's actually that's what your
that's
name
what
is.
My name is, but
Okay.
the handle is Brian C. Walton 78.
Brian C. Walton 78. Speaking of that, like, share, subscribe, Buckeye backers, college football backers on all mediums. Go check it out. Facebook, X, YouTube. And we got a show coming up also tomorrow. College football backers does a show. I put it on this channel pretty much exclusively, but it also is going to have Brian's projections, his model that he built for what the college football playoff is going to be. So we'll have that tomorrow night, 10 o'clock. As always, we have our Buckeye backers 10 o'clock show coming to you too. So go check out cfbackers.com for all your articles across the nation. You'll have my articles, you'll have Brian's articles, but I will post your handle in the chat for everyone too.
Thanks, appreciate it.
No problem. I am trying to copy and paste it now as we speak.
Speaking of the model, we did have the Iowa Oregon game in there, and we were exactly right about the spread, 2 points. We were off on the actual score, but the point spread was right. So the model is looking pretty good.
Absolutely. So I posted that in the comments too, so you guys will have that if you want to go follow Brian Buckeye Stats. Also, check out our website. It's worth a read. I'm telling you right now, we have some really good writers across the nation. cfbackers.com in the chat. Anything else in particular that we needed to get to from Ohio State?
The only other thing was the Jeremiah Smith tracker, Triple Crown tracker. That has gotten a lot of traction. I think that's going to be a lot of fun going forward. He busted our average on the tracker for receptions and yards, and he's kind of on track for touchdowns. I think this is going to be obviously, the team doesn't care about stats and we care about the wins and all that stuff. But as for fans, I feel like this is kind of going to be, if you were around for the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire tracker when they were trying to break that, that longstanding home run thing. I think this will be a fun thing for fans to keep track of. So before every game, we're gonna re-update the averages and say if the average went down. For this week, the average went down because he had a big game for receptions and yards. So this will just be a fun thing. If you read the article, it's statistically possible, and it's going to be crazy, but it's statistically possible for Jeremiah Smith to break the top 3 all-time Ohio State records in receptions, yards, and touchdowns this year in Miami, if we make it all the way to the national championship game. So
it's assuming 7 games left.
Right.
If Ohio State makes it all the way, these are the stats Jeremiah Smith needs to break as a sophomore. Keep in mind, as a sophomore, all-time career receiving marks and touchdowns, receptions, and yards. And he's on track for the yards and beat our actual average that we had that Brian calculated for receptions and yards per game needed to break those records. Touchdowns, he kind of, because it was like 1.4 or something that we rounded up to 1.5, he still stayed in that 1.5 range, so still needs 1.5 touchdowns per game, which is doable. It's lofty, but doable. But even if he doesn't, he's going to break that record next year as a junior.
Right. So imagine how crazy it would be, assuming that they did make it to the national championship game, assuming that they did actually make it to the Big Ten championship game, that he is in Miami, his backyard, his hometown, and he would to break 1, 2, or 3, all of those all-time Ohio State receiving records. I mean, what a story. I mean, you talk about Heisman moments. Again, college football fan, that's giving me goosebumps. I mean, that's a crazy story.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we're going to be tracking that. We're going to have those graphics up. Again, follow us on all those social mediums and our website, and we'll be posting those fun graphics every game and throughout the weeks. But that'll be a fun thing for us as fans to track.
Correct. And we're doing really well on social medias, specifically Facebook, and starting to pick it up a lot on X, but we need your help. We need your help with YouTube. Please like, please subscribe, please share. It's definitely picking up on YouTube, but we're quite a ways behind everything else as far as social media is concerned. So we appreciate you being here. God bless everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy Buckeye football the way it is right now, because this is historic. Like we said, it might be a 2-peat, or as Seattle Matt would definitely like to mention, there could be a 3-peat coming too. Peace out, ladies and gentlemen. God bless.
See you, fellas.
Adios.